Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRFBets race of the day for Saturday, October the 26th, race number 9 at Keeneland. We're going 1.1 miles on the main track. It's the Grade 2 Hagyard Fayette Stakes. $200,000 is the purse. You can play the race with a DRFBets account. Deposit $150 into your account, bet with $300, and you can bet the Breeders' Cup next week with DRFBets. Learn more at drf.com/bet. Here's the field for the Hagyard Fayette. You can access free formulator past performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at drf.com. Access them and handicap along with us. It's an intriguing field, Mike. Tom's Data, the number 3, 2-1. He is very, very consistent from a Beyer speed figure standpoint. You've got Mr. Freeze, last year's West Virginia Derby winner, looking to get back to his best form. But a key component of this race might very well be the pace situation, because Timeform US in its pace projector has it as a blue bar scenario, and that means Timeform US believes this race will favor horses on or near the early lead. They have Mr. Freeze up close to the pace, along with the very handy Tom's Data.
Yeah, it feels like if the pace does play out this way, it's going to be a big advantage for Tom's Data. I think he deserves to be the morning line favorite anyway, Dan. He's been back in good form this year, and he seemed like he was pretty badly compromised last time just by his post position.
A horse that was on the lead last time out. It's the number 1, The Great Day. Now, this is a multiple Group 1 winner in his native Argentina, but Arnaud de la Cour has competed this horse. He's basically run him only on turf and synthetic in North America. And last time out in the Durham Cup, this race was run like a turf race. They were in the first quarter mile in 26 seconds flat. The Great Day made the lead by default, and he's still all out to hold off this favorite Special Forces. I think he gets a fortuitous bob under Patrick Husbands. To me, this pace may not be fast. It's going to be a heck of a lot faster than in the Durham Cup. He has some quality. He still has to prove to me he can step on dirt against this kind.
Yeah, I agree. He was game to win that race, but he had a lot go his way. I mean, I guess the positive for him could be you could just look at his Argentinian form and say, well, he was a better dirt horse down there. You know, I don't know if that means anything, but maybe he'll just be a better dirt horse over here too.
Mr. Freeze was a promising late-developing 3-year-old last year for Dale Romans. He won the West Virginia Derby by open lengths with a 102 Beyers speed figure. They ran him in the Pennsylvania Derby against McKenzie. I think something just must have happened to him that day because he went away for a while. I know Dale Romans wanted to try to find an allowance race for him at Gulfstream over the winter. Nothing filled, so he was forced to run him in the tropical turf. He does not want to run on turf, this horse. Then another layoff. You could tell that Ellis Park race was a prep, and it was a good one because he looked good in the ACAC last time out. This horse, I think, is getting back to his best form, and as Timeform US indicates, he can get up close to a moderate pace. He's a very strong contender.
Yeah, he is. There's a lot to like about this horse. He was actually a good sort of under-the-radar 3-year-old, finding himself before things went wrong at the end of the year, and he's come back with 2 really nice races on the main track. He takes another step forward in here. He's a big player.
Patience is paid off for Tom's Data's connections. This is a horse that has always had trouble making it to the races. He's 6 years old. He's only started 14 times, but he's finally put together a little bit of a campaign for Al Stall. Coming off the 5-month layoff in the Ali Sheba, he ran well to be second to McKenzie. I thought he ran well in the Stephen Foster. He was sort of battling with Quip early on, and they got set up for Seeking the Soul. The Alidar, he was just better than those horses, but he showed a new dimension rating from off of the pace. And in the Woodward, he lost ground on the turn and into the stretch against some really good horses. He's just extremely logical on paper.
Yeah, he just makes a ton of sense in here. He's back in good form as a 6-year-old. His Aladar was really good, Dan. I thought just because the pace was so fast, and while he showed he could sit off it, he was still pretty close to it. I thought that was a dominating win. I thought he ran great last time in the Woodward. I mean, from the outside post, you could just see Irad decide he had to take him back off the pace. He was in the mix all the way down to the 16th pole against some really good horses before he gave it up. He's coming in here off of 2 really good races.
Everfast is eligible for a non-winners of 2 life and is riding a 13-race win streak, but you can't take away the fact that he's classic placed. He got a beautiful ride from Joel Rosario in the Preakness. It was a hot pace. Rosario sat inside. He rode the rail. He followed the winner, War of Will, and he got up for second. As great as that ride was in the Preakness, equally perplexing the Belmont, where he was sitting in the catbird seat on the golden rail, and Luis Saez at a critical juncture sort of took him off the rail, giving that spot to the eventual winner, Sir Winston. I won't hold the Haskell against him. I don't really think, the Monmouth racetrack really fits his late running style. And in the Travers, I mean, it looks like a terrible performance. He was on that dead rail 90% of the race.
Yeah, all those things are true. We'll see how he classes up now against some really good older horses. I feel like it's going to be tough for him. Listen, he's outrun his odds by a lot on several occasions. Those horses can always be dangerous, and you could always look at horses like that and try to use them somewhere, but it's hard for me to see him winning this race.
Mosito Rojo is an iron will. He has won his last 5 races. He is 17 for 25 last time out, and he has the tactical speed to work out a trip no matter how fast the pace is in front of him. Last time out in the Lucas Classic, he sat a nice trip 3 wide. That's a nice solid horse, Silver Dust, that got the jump on him turning into the stretch. I think 2 things worked in Mosito Rojo's favor in the lane. A, he has the heart of a lion, and B, he probably wants the 9 more than Silver Dust.
I think those things are true. You just can't knock this horse. He shows up and he runs every time. He's got really good tactical speed. Does he have to improve if, a horse like Tom Tatat shows up and runs his best race? He probably does, but I'll be using this horse somewhere.
Tenfold the 6 is just that typical one-run closer that needs pace and race luck. He got both in the Pimlico Special at 1.25 miles. Great ride from Ricardo Santana coming from off a hot pace, weaving his way through to win it. Stephen Foster was a disappointing performance against Tom's D'Etat. The Pacific Classic, again, I won't hold that race against him. I don't think that Del Mar racetrack really played to his strengths, and that race just seemed to go to higher power, just dominated close to the pace. I don't know what happened last time out. He didn't run at all.
He didn't. It's not the first time that's happened to this horse this year. He just seems like he maybe hasn't really improved as a 4-year-old, and that's a real problem.
The 7 Core Beliefs has shown that he can ship and win off layoffs in the past. He did that in the Grade 2 New Orleans handicap earlier this year. I didn't love the New Orleans as a race. I thought it was slow. I didn't think there were great horses in there. But since that race, he's been put in some very tough spots. The Gold Cup at Santa Anita was at 1.25 miles, and he was right up on the pace against Vino Rosso, who's Breeders' Cup Classic bound, and at that point, the divisional leader in Gift Box. So he was just in too tough. And then the San Diego handicap, he caught a 4-horse field, no pace whatsoever, and Catalina Cruiser at 1-9, cruising on the lead in front of him. He had no chance in that race. It would have been nice to have seen him do any running at all in the San Diego handicap, but there's a case to be made that he's taken a little bit of the class drop that he needs, and he loves this distance.
Yeah, and he's better than those last 2 races for sure. Does that mean he's good enough to win this race? Again, if other horses show up at their best races, maybe not. But he's very lightly raced as a 4-year-old. He could still improve.
Bal Harbor, the 8, goes out for Todd Pletcher, and this horse is yet to win in 2019, but sure looks like he's going the right way on paper. He had a terrible trip in the Salvatore Mile, where he must have broke 3 lengths slow, then ended up 5 wide on a gold rail day in a race that was won by a rail skimming winner. In the Monmouth Cup, I thought he was game against War Story to be beaten ahead. He finished ahead of Cold Front, who came back to win that Parks Dirt Mile. Let's watch the Woodward last time out. He was 16-1, and here's Bal Harbor in the 2-path. He's actually going to stick his head in front. Tom's D'Etat is the number 9, looming to his outside. Bal Harbor is going to outfinish Tom's D'Etat. He's going to outfinish Breeders' Cup Classic bound Yoshida. He's not going to outfinish the now retired Preservationist. This was a career best performance for this horse. I'm slightly dubious still about him at 1 1/8, and I've never really thought of Bal Harbor as sort of that Saturday afternoon graded stakes horse, but he's proven me wrong.
He's been in really good form. You can't really knock him. He's clearly an improved horse. I guess my only knock on him is out of that Woodward, where he really did run well. I did feel like horses like Bal Harbor, or horses like Yoshida and Tom Tatat, were a little more compromised than he was. I mean, he actually got a really good trip in that race, just sitting up on the pace with Mr. Buff, who was never going to win. Listen, he ran well. He gets another trip like that. He can beat this field, but I'm going in a different direction.
Own Agenda's taken a gigantic step up in class. This will be his first race against stakes company of any kind. He was outrun last time out at Churchill Downs. He had to wait a little bit down inside at the 5/16, rallied near the inside to be beaten a length. He was beaten by the only 3-year-old in the field, Baracho, 2 back going 7 furlongs. There's a lot of class questions to address for a horse that's yet to buy 90.
Yeah, he's done his best in his last 2 races, and both in spots that set up really well for him with wicked paces that he was closing into. I don't know if this race is going to be run like that.
Really looked like Big Dollar Bill had found himself going really long on the dirt in races like the Birdstone, and then stakes placed in both that marathon on Breeders' Cup weekend and the Greenwood Cup. But he's certainly capable at Keeneland, especially when you turn him back at distance. He loves this track. It's his 3rd start of the form cycle. I don't think he was really embarrassed in the Lucas Classic. I'm expecting a forward move. I think it's going to come up a little bit short for Big Dollar Bill, but he's a horse that might be able to spice up your exotics.
Yeah, we're in agreement there. I could use this horse somewhere. I don't know if he can beat this field, but I could use him. He likes this track. I think he can run his best race third off the layout.
Top pick time for the Fayette Stakes. I really respect Val Harbor's figures. I respect his tactical speed. I think he can adapt to this pace scenario. Stay up close. We'll see if he can get the 9 furlongs. Tom's D'Etat, Mr. Freeze. These sources just look very, very logical to me. I went 8-3-2-5.
Yeah, I'm just not going to try and beat Tom's D'Etat. I know he's a morning line favorite. I just like his recent form. I think he ran a lot better than it looks in the Woodward. I took him on top and went 3-5-8-10.
It's the Saturday DRFBets race of the day, the Grade 2 Hagyard Fayette. Bet it with a DRFBets account. Deposit $150. Bet with $300. Learn more at drf.com/bet. Approximate post time for the Grade 2 Hagyard Fayette, 5:30 Eastern. Best of luck.